we seriously need to talk about the story of a 20-year-old who won the Golden Boy Award, started a Champions League final, scored twice for France in a single international friendly on March 29, 2026, and still might not start at the World Cup this summer. His name is Désiré Doué, and the problem he has created for Didier Deschamps is one of the most fascinating selection dilemmas in international football heading into the 2026 tournament. Settings the scene. France's embarrassment of riches To understand the Doué problem, you first have to understand the position France are in right now, because the situation is almost absurd when you lay it out plainly. France are ranked second in the world. They have not lost a match since last June. Didier Deschamps, in the final chapter of his managerial career before stepping down after this tournament, has access to a squad that Kylian Mbappé himself described as having more potential and more talent than the group that reached the 2022 World Cup final. And that 2022 group lost on penalties to Argentina. Not because they were outplayed, but because they were exceptional and Argentina were just slightly better on the night. The 2026 squad is deeper, and that depth is exactly where the problem lives. A World Cup squad carries 26 players. France, realistically, have 9 or 10 world-class attacking options competing for 3 or 4 slots behind their guaranteed starters. Deschamps was asked directly about his squad planning ahead of the March international break, and his answer was honest in a way that revealed the scale of the headache. His words were, "I don't have a fixed idea because I don't have all the data. From the moment I consider that I have 3 options for all positions, I can't take everyone. When you have attacking potential, you have ambition." 3 options for all positions. From the manager's own mouth. And sitting right in the middle of that problem, scoring goals and refusing to be ignored, is Désiré Doué. Who is Désiré Doué? Born on June 3, 2005, in Angoulême, France, to parents from Guadeloupe, Désiré Doué will turn 21 during the World Cup itself. He started his footballing education at Rennes, made his professional Ligue 1 debut at 17, and across 2 seasons at the club, made 76 appearances, contributing 8 goals and 7 assists before the biggest clubs in Europe came calling. Bayern Munich made an offer. Doué turned it down. In August 2024, he joined Paris Saint-Germain for €50 million, signing a contract through June 2029, and what he did in his first season at the club is the reason we are having this conversation. His PSG debut came on August 23, 2024, as a substitute in a 6-0 win over Montpellier. From that point forward, across 61 total appearances in the 2024-25 season, he contributed 16 goals and 16 assists. In the Champions League specifically, he played 16 matches, scored 5 goals, and added 4 assists across approximately 740 minutes of football. His top recorded speed was 33.8 kilometers per hour. But the numbers only tell part of the story. The moments are what matter. In December, when PSG had just 1 point from their first 4 Champions League matches, and the campaign was threatening to unravel before it had started, Doué scored in a 3-0 win over Red Bull Salzburg to steady the ship. In February, coming off the bench against Brest in the Champions League knockout playoff, he scored a goal and added an assist in a 7-0 win. In March, at Anfield, PSG had lost the first leg of their round of 16 tie against Liverpool 1-0. Doué came on as a substitute and scored the decisive penalty that won PSG the tie and sent them through. And then came the Champions League final against Inter Milan. PSG won 5-0. Doué started. He provided the assist for Hakimi's opening goal. He then scored PSG's third. At 19 years old, He became the youngest player in history to directly contribute to 3 goals in a Champions League final. He did what neither Kylian Mbappé nor his own idol, Neymar, had been able to do at PSG: score in the Champions League final. The individual awards followed: UEFA Champions League Young Player of the Season, League One Young Player of the Year, the 2024 Golden Boy, awarded by Tuttosport, where he collected 450 points out of a possible 500, becoming only the 4th Frenchman to win the award after Paul Pogba, Kylian Mbappé, and Anthony Martial. He also picked up the Best Young Player award at the FIFA Club World Cup. His current market value sits at 99.5 million euros. This is not a fringe player knocking on the door. This is one of the best young footballers on the planet. And that is exactly why the problem is so real. The March 25th match, Brazil versus France. The March 2026 international break gave Deschamps 2 matches to assess his squad before the World Cup, and the first of them illustrated the dilemma with perfect clarity. On March 25th at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, France faced Brazil in front of 66,215 fans. The match was a statement. France lined up with Mbappé through the middle, Dembélé on the right, Ekitike on the left, and Olise at number 10. A front 4 that NBC Sports described after the match as just not fair. Mbappé scored in the 32nd minute, chipping the ball over Ederson for his 56th international goal. France went into halftime 1-0 up, with Brazil registering 0 shots on target. In the 55th minute, Dayot Upamecano was sent off. France were down to 10 men. Deschamps responded at the 58th minute with defensive substitutions, bringing on Kanté and debutant Maxence Lacroix. And then, in the 65th minute, with 10 men, France scored again. Michael Olise drove forward, slipped the ball through for Ekitike, who chipped Ederson in the same style as Mbappé had done. 2-0 with 10 men. Doué came on at the 66th minute for Ekitike. He played 24 minutes, picked up a FOTMOB rating of 6.2, and didn't score. France held on to win 2-1 after Bremer pulled one back in the 78th minute, with Vinicius Jr. missing a last-kick equalizer. The match told a clear story about the front 4 that Deschamps trusts most. And Doué wasn't in it. The March 29th match, France versus Colombia. 4 days later, on March 29th at Northwest Stadium in Landover, Maryland, the home of the NFL's Washington Commanders, France faced Colombia in front of 60,734 fans. Deschamps rotated his squad heavily, giving opportunities to players who hadn't started against Brazil, and Doué was in the starting lineup. What happened over the next 90 minutes was the clearest possible argument for his inclusion. In the 29th minute, Doué received the ball at the center of the box and tucked it right against the post with his right foot. His first ever senior goal for France. The stadium erupted, and Doué had announced himself on the international stage in the most direct way possible. In the 56th minute, he scored again. Marcus Thuram received from Ryan Cherki after a move started by N'Golo Kanté, and Doué finished first time, alone on the left, to complete his brace. His first 2 senior France goals in the same match. beIN Sports described the moment plainly. A brace for the rising star, Désiré Doué, who shows no mercy after a lethal counterattack. France won 3-1. Thuram also scored. Campaz pulled one back for Colombia in the 77th minute, but the result was never truly in doubt. Doué was the standout performer, his 6th senior France appearance. his first 2 senior France goals. And the timing, just 4 days after sitting on the bench in a win over Brazil, was impossible to ignore. One outlet covering the match put it plainly, writing that the Colombia result showed France doesn't just have one strong team, but 2, and that the match was essentially the answer to Deschamps' squad selection problem, while also being the thing that made that problem harder to solve. Why this matters beyond just squad selection. The easy framing of this story is that France have too many good players, and that's a nice problem to have. And that framing isn't wrong, but it misses something important. Doué is not a backup option. He is not a depth piece. He is the golden boy of European football, a Champions League final scorer, and a player whose market value is approaching 100 million euros. When a player of that profile scores twice in an international friendly and still isn't guaranteed a starting spot at the World Cup, it raises a real question about how French football manages its most talented generation. Mbappé won his Golden Boy in 2018, the same year he became a World Cup winner at 19. The pathway was clear for him. For Doué, the pathway runs directly into a wall of exceptional players at exactly his position, all of whom are either in their peak years or have already established themselves as first-choice options for the national team. There is also the long-term picture. Doué turns 21 during the tournament. The 2030 World Cup will arrive when he is 24. The 2034 World Cup when he is 28. France's golden generation, the one built around Mbappé, is right now at its peak, and Doué is trying to force his way into it at the exact moment it has the least room to accommodate him. Deschamps' own words, 3 options for all positions, and I can't take everyone, are not the words of a man who has a clear answer. They are the words of a man sitting with a problem he cannot fully resolve before the tournament begins. On March 29, 2026, at Northwest Stadium in Maryland, Désiré Doué scored twice for France in a 3-1 win over Colombia. His first 2 senior international goals in the same match. His 6th appearance in a senior France shirt. A performance that made him the standout player on the pitch. 4 days earlier, he had come off the bench with 24 minutes to play in a win over Brazil. He didn't score. That contrast captures the problem exactly. When Doué starts, he delivers. When France's best front 4 is available, he doesn't make the starting lineup. And with a World Cup beginning in less than 80 days, Didier Deschamps has to decide what to do with a 20-year-old Golden Boy winner who is running out of ways to be ignored. Deschamps said it himself. He has 3 options for all positions and cannot take everyone. Someone outstanding gets left out. Someone who has scored in a Champions League final, won 6 trophies in one season, and scored a brace in a World Cup warm-up match might not start at the biggest tournament in football. That is the Doué problem. And right now, nobody has a clean answer to it.